H.G. Wells. Oh, is H.G. Wells another author too? I've heard that name before too. Oh my gosh. And we gotta do this man too? He made The War of the Worlds and The Invisible Man? Bro. There's too many, bro. There's literally too many, bro. H.G. Wells is another. I can't just end the stream not looking up H.G. Wells, bro. Oh gosh. I could see how people like I like people that read that are into books, like it becomes their personality. There's a lot of good content out there. Wow. The War of the Worlds. Yeah, so the War of the Worlds is about the Martians. Literally, like the movie. What was that thing that happened? The Great Battle of LA or something? There was something that they involved HG. What was that? The Great... Where they shot at the UFOs? What was that? The Great LA Air Raid. I think this has something to do with the Wells book, no? Didn't it? So is this like a real thing that happened, or are they trying to say that this is a Mandela effect? Oh shit! 5 civilians died in a heart attack. Yo, 2 died of a heart attack and 3 died in a car accident. Yo, I gotta look this up too because I was always interested about this. The Battle of Los Angeles. Literally, that's what this made the front paper the next day. Searchlights and anti-aircraft guns combed the sky during alarm. They literally pointed them at a UFO and shot at it. The military in Los Angeles. What year is this? 1920? 1920 something? Oh, 1942. Yeah, this is during World War II. Oh yeah, they probably thought it was the Japanese. Okay, background. In the months. Oh, here we go. On February 24th, 1940. I think this is just saying that the USA is on high alert during World War II, and on the West Coast, they're installing guns everywhere. On February 24th, 1942, the Office of Naval Intelligence issued a warning that an attack on mainland California could be expected within the next 10 hours. That evening, many flares and blinking lights were reportedly in the vicinity of defense plants. An alert called at 7:18 p.m. and was lifted at 10:23 p.m. Renewed activity began in the early morning of February 25th. Air raid sirens sounded at 2:25 a.m. throughout LA County. A total blackout was ordered. Thousands of air raid wardens were summoned to their positions at 3:16 a.m. At 3:16 a.m., the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade began firing 50 cal machine guns and 12.8-pound anti-aircraft shells into the air at the reported aircraft. Over 1,400 shells were eventually fired. Pilots of the 4th Interceptor Command were alerted, but their aircraft remained grounded. The artillery fire continued sporadically until 4:14 a.m. Damn, a whole hour? What the fuck? That's a long time. 3:13 to 4:14 a.m. The all clear was sounded. So the all clear was sounded at 4:14. So like maybe like the aircraft, like the UFO at 4 a.m. it left and they were just shooting for 15 minutes, and the blackout order was lifted at 7 a.m. Several buildings and vehicles were damaged by shell fragments, and 5 civilians died as an indirect result of the anti-aircraft fire. 3 were killed in car accidents, and the ensuing chaos, and 2 heart attacks attributed to the stress. The incident was front page news along with the West Coast and across the nation. Yes, that's what it is. Yes. War of the Worlds. People thought it was real. It was also in a radio bar that caused a mass panic. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Not this shit. I'm reading the wrong thing. Let me finish reading this, though. Within the hours of the air raid, Secretary of the Navy hold a press conference. A false alarm due to war nerves. Some contemporary press outlets suspected a cover-up of the truth. That's the perfect excuse, though. War nerves, like literally, like Japan, Pearl Harbor happened. Like we're just nervous. We just tweaked out real quick. There is a mysterious resonance about the whole affair. It seems that some form of censorship is trying to halt discussion of the matter. Wow. Okay, what is the War of the Worlds radio broadcast? What is that about? Yeah, that's what it was. The Halloween. It was a Halloween fake thing. It was a broadcast that they just did as a joke, right? The broadcast included simulated breaking news bulletins, realistic sound effects, and actors portraying reporters. Convinced some listeners that a Martian invasion was taking place. What year is this? 1898. You can't even blame them, bro. 1898 is so long ago. Like, yo, if 1898 you could go up to somebody and like tell them anything, bro, they probably believe you. Oh, where am I? War of the Worlds, yeah. What was explained to reporters that he had not intended to cause panic. Was he a part of it? It aired. Oh no, it aired on 1938. Not 1898. Dramatization of his novel of this, yeah, the same name. So was Wells a part of the drama? Or was that just the radio guys? Oh, so Orson Welles was the one talking the whole time. That's pretty funny. The episode begins with an introductory monologue based closely on the opening of the source novel, after which the program takes on a format of evening typical radio programming, being periodically interrupted by the news bulletin. So this is just an entertainment type of thing that happened, and they didn't know. The first few bulletins interrupt a program of live music and are relatively calm reports of unusual explosions on Mars, followed by an unseemingly unrelated report of an unknown falling object on a farm in New Jersey. Crisis escalates dramatically when an on-scene reporter at the Groves Mill describes creatures emerging from what is evidently an alien spacecraft. The aliens employ heat ray against police and onlookers, and the radio correspondent describes the attack in increasing panic until the audio feed abruptly goes dead. This is followed by a series of news updates detailing the beginning of a devastating alien invasion and the U.S.'s military futile efforts to stop it. The first portion of the episode climaxes with a live report from a rooftop in Manhattan where a correspondent describes citizens fleeing from poison smoke released by towering Martian war machines until he coughs and falls silent. Only then does the program take its first break, about 30 minutes after Wells' introduction. The second portion of the show shifts to a more conventional radio drama format that follows the survivor, played by Wells, dealing with the aftermath of the invasion and the ongoing Martian occupation of Earth. The final segment lasts for about 16 minutes and, like the original novel, concludes with the revelation that the Martians have been defeated by microbes rather than humans. The broadcast ends with a brief out-of-character announcement by Wells in which he compares the show to dressing up in a sheet and jumping out of a bush saying boo. So this is just a whole entertainment type of thing. But when everybody heard this part, they just fucking went crazy. So this is the whole broadcast. Okay. In the days after the adaptation, widespread outrage was expressed in the media. The program's news bulletin format was described as deceptive by some newspapers and public figures, leading to an outcry against the broadcasters and calls for regulation by the FCC. Wells apologized at a hastily called news conference called the next morning, and no punitive action was taken. The broadcast and subsequent publicity brought the 23. Oh, he was 23 at the time? Damn. To the attention of the general public and gave him the reputation of an innovative storyteller and a trickster. That's pretty cool. At fucking 23 years old, that's how you get your novel out there? Wow. That's pretty dope. He died at 40. He died soon after that, though. Ouch. How was he 23 at the time? The 23-year-old Wells. If this happened in 38, is my math that bad? 66. Yeah, the math doesn't. That math doesn't work out. Am I dumb here? Brought the 23-year-old Wells to the attention of the general public. But this happened in 38. Oh, maybe this is just a Wikipedia L going on. Yeah, he was in on it. Imagine you fucked all that up at 23. Yo. Yeah, I bet this is a serious thing because I don't even know when were TVs like normal. When were like the 60s and 50s, right? Televisions in homes normalized in the U.S. Because this is probably when. Yeah, the 50s, maybe the late 40s, 50s, but this is the late 30s, early 40s. So like radio is the main source of communication for people. Yo, you know there was just like, yeah, it's the 50s for sure. Yeah, so you know that there was a couple dads when they heard the broadcast, that when they heard about the Martians, this is some good. This is pretty funny. Yeah, at least when they war machines, and this is funny. The first portion of the episode, Climate went to a live report from a rooftop in Manhattan when the correspondent described citizens fleeing from poison smoke released by towering Martian war machines until he coughs and falls silent. You know that there was like thousands of dads in the country that packed their go bags and they fucking fled for the mountains somewhere. That's crazy. How long did this last? Like this drama. Oh, they have the broadcast? Let's go listen to a little bit. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted.
The Columbia Broadcasting System
sure.
and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
Damn, Unc. This person said that they were 12 years old listening to this with his mother and his father and two brothers. Forever the greatest prank of all time.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's, and yet as mortal as his own. We know now that as human beings busied themselves about their various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied, perhaps almost as narrowly as a man with a microscope might scrutinize the transient creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. With infinite complacence, people went to and fro.
They're playing music.
Observatory, Chicago, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News. At 20 minutes before 8 Central Time, Professor Farrell of the Mount Jennings Observatory, Chicago, Illinois, reports observing several explosions of incandescent gas occurring at regular intervals on the planet Mars. The spectroscope indicates the gas to be hydrogen and moving toward the Earth with enormous velocity. Professor Pearson...
Now, if I was in 1938, I would think this is real for sure.
The observatory at Princeton confirms Farrell's observation and describes the phenomenon as, quote, like a jet of blue flame shot from a gun, unquote. We now return you to the music of Ramon Raquello, playing for you in the Meridian Room of the Park Plaza Hotel, situated in downtown New York.
Damn, Martians keep interrupting my orchestra. Alright, let's just skim through it to the part that they talk.
There is the Earth in
A telephone of the youth.
We are ready now to take you to the Princeton Observatory at Princeton, where Carl Phillips, our commentator, will interview Professor Richard Pearson, famous astronomer. We take you now to Princeton, New Jersey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Phillips speaking to you from the observatory at Princeton. I'm standing in a large semicircular room, pitch black except for an oblong split in the ceiling. Through this opening, I can see a sprinkling of stars that cast a kind of frosty glow over the intricate mechanism of the huge telescope. The ticking sound you hear is the vibration of the clockwork. Professor Pearson stands directly above me on a small platform, peering through the giant lens. I'll ask you to be patient, ladies and gentlemen, during any delay that may arise during our interview. Besides the ceaseless watch of the heavens, Professor Pearson may be interrupted by telephone or other communications. During this period, he is in constant touch with the astronomical centers of the world. Professor, may I begin our questions?
any time, Mr. Phillips.
Professor, would you please tell our radio audience exactly what you see as you observe the planet Mars through your telescope?
Nothing unusual at the moment, Mr. Phillips. A red disk swimming in a blue sea. Transverse stripes across the disk. Quite distinct now because Mars happens to be at the point nearest the Earth, in opposition, as we call it.
In your opinion, what do these transverse stripes signify, Professor Pearson?
Not canals, I can assure you, Mr. Phillips.
They...
Although that's the popular conjecture of those who imagine Mars to be inhabited. From a scientific viewpoint, the stripes are merely the result of...
Radio News, Toronto, Canada. Professor Morris of Macmillan University reports observing a total of 3 explosions on the planet Mars between the hours of 7:45 p.m. and 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This confirms earlier reports received from special...
The usual visitor that dropped in your backyard. A step closer, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Wilman.
Well, I was listening to the radio.
Closer and louder, please.
Pardon me?
Louder, please, closer.
Yes. I was listening to the radio and kind of drowsing. That professor fellow was talking about Mars.
Not found on this Earth. Friction with the Earth.
Wait a minute, something's happening. Professor Pierce.
That's where it hits the
As
fan.
long as I can see, more state police have arrived. They're drawing up a cordon in front of the pit.
Oh, this is the reporter. Okay.
Phillips at...
This is the reporter on the scene at
We
the.
now return you to Carl
in
Phillips
Jersey.
at Grover's Mill.
Ladies and gentlemen, am I on? Ladies and gentlemen, here I am, back of a stone wall that adjoins Mr. Wilmer's garden.
Yeah, that little "am I on" just adds to like the realistic.
Ladies and gentlemen, here I am, back of a stone wall that adjoins Mr. Wilmer's garden. From here, I get a sweep of the whole scene. I'll give you every detail as long as I can talk and as long as I can see. More state police have arrived. They're drawing up a cordon in front of the pit. About 30 of them. No need to push the crowd back now. They're willing to keep their distance. The captain is conferring with someone. Can't quite see who. Oh, yes, I believe it's Professor Pearson. Yes, it is. Now they've parted, and the professor moves around one side, studying the object while the captain and two policemen advance with something in their hands. I can see it now. It's a white handkerchief tied to a pole. Flag of truce. If those creatures know what that means, what anything means. Wait a minute, something's happening. Humped shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against a mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. Now the whole field's caught up by the woods, the barns, the gas tanks of the automobiles spreading everywhere. Coming this way now, about 20 yards to my right.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast from Grover's Mill. Evidently, there's some difficulty with our field transmission. However, we will return to that point at the earliest opportunity. In the meantime, we have a late bulletin from San Diego, California. Professor Indelkoffer, speaking at a dinner of the California Astronomical Society, expressed the opinion that the explosions on Mars are undoubtedly nothing more than severe volcanic disturbances on the surface of the planet. We continue now with our piano interlude.
Thank you, Professor Pearson. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a bulletin from Trenton. It is a brief statement informing us that the charred body of Carl Phillips has been identified in a Trenton hospital.
Wow.
Now, here's another bulletin from Washington, D.C. The Office of the Director of the National Red Cross reports 10 units of Red Cross emergency workers have been assigned to the headquarters of the state militia, stationed outside of Grover's Mill, New Jersey. Here's a bulletin from State Police, Princeton Junction. The fires at Grover's Mill and vicinity are now under control. Scouts report all quiet in the pit, and there is no sign of life appearing from the mouth of the cylinder. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special statement from Mr. Harry McDonald, Vice President in charge of operations.
We have received a request from the state militia of Trenton to place at their disposal our entire broadcasting facilities. In view of the gravity of the situation, and believing that radio has a responsibility to serve in the public interest at all times, we are turning over our facilities to the state militia at Trenton.
We take you now to the field headquarters of the state militia near Grover's Mill, New Jersey.
This is Captain Lansing of the Signal
Imagine listening to this live, bro. It would have been like a crazy experience.
Corps, attached to the state militia, now engaged in military operations in the vicinity of Grover's Mill. Situation arising from the reported presence of certain individuals of unidentified nature is now under complete control. The cylindrical object, which lies in a pit directly below our position, surrounded on all sides by 8 battalions of infantry, without heavy field pieces, but adequately armed with rifles and machine guns. All cause for alarm, if such cause ever existed, is now entirely unjustified. Things, whatever they are, do not even venture to poke their heads above the pit. I can see their hiding place plainly in the glare of the searchlights here. With all their reported resources, these creatures can scarcely stand up against heavy machine gun fire. Anyway, it's an interesting outing for the troops. I can make out their khaki uniforms crossing back and forth in front of the lights. Looks almost like a real war. There appears to be some slight smoke in the woods bordering the Millstone River. Probably fire started by campers. Well,
by campers.
we ought to see some action soon. One of the companies is deploying on the left flank. A quick thrust and it'll all be over. Now, wait a minute. I See something on top of the cylinder? No, it's nothing but a shadow. Now the troops are on the edge of the Wilmot farm. 7,000 armed men closing in on an old metal tube. A tub, rather. Well, wait, that wasn't a shadow. It's something moving. Solid metal, kind of a shield-like affair rising up out of the cylinder. It's going higher and higher. What? It's standing on legs, actually rearing up on a sort of metal framework. Now it's reaching above the trees and the searchlights are on it. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars. The battle which took place tonight at Grover Mills has ended in one of the most startling defeats ever suffered by an army in modern times. 7,000 men armed with rifles and machine guns pitted against a single fighting machine of the invaders from Mars. 120 known survivors. The rest strewn over the battle area from Grover's Mill to Plainsboro, crushed and trampled to death under the metal feet of the monster, or burned to cinders by its heat ray.
Where's Grover's Mill at?
The monster is now in control of the middle section of New Jersey and has effectively cut the state through its center. Communication lines are down from Pennsylvania to the Atlantic Ocean.
I'm bad eating, bro. They put up statues there? That's funny. That's hilarious.
Railroad tracks are torn and service from New York to Philadelphia discontinued, except routing some of the trains through Allerton and Phoenixville. Highways to the north, south, and west are clogged with frantic human traffic. Police and army reserves are unable to control the mad flight. By morning, the fugitives will have swelled Philadelphia, Camden, and Trenton. It is estimated to twice their normal population. Martial law prevails throughout New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. At this time, we take you to Washington for a special broadcast on the national emergency. The Secretary of the Interior.
Citizens of the nation, I shall not try to conceal the gravity of the situation that confronts the country, nor the concern of your government in protecting the lives and property of its people. However, I wish to impress upon you, private citizens and public officials, all of you, the urgent need of calm
the Martian statue.
and resourceful action.
I gotta go here.
Fortunately, this formidable enemy is still confined to a comparatively small area, and we may place our faith in the military forces to keep them there. In the meantime, placing our faith in God, we must continue the performance of our duties, each and every one of us, so that we may confront this destructive adversary with a nation united, courageous, and consecrated to the preservation of human supremacy on this earth. I thank you.
You have just heard the Secretary of the Interior speaking from Washington. Bulletins too numerous to read are piling up in the studio here. We're informed that the central portion of New Jersey is blacked out from radio communication due to the effect of the heat ray upon power lines and electrical equipment. Here's a special bulletin in New York. Cables have been received from English, French, and German scientific bodies offering assistance. Astronomers report continued gas outbursts at regular intervals on the planet Mars. The majority voiced the opinion that the enemy will be reinforced by additional rocket machines. There have been several attempts made to locate Professor Pearson of Princeton, who has observed Martians at close range. It is feared he was lost in the recent battle. Langham Field, Virginia. Scouting planes report 3 Martian machines visible above treetops, moving north toward Somerville with population fleeing ahead of them. The heat ray is not in use, although advancing at express train speed. Invaders pick their way carefully. They seem to be making a conscious effort to... Fire.
Oh, shit.
Can't see the shell land, sir. Letting off a smoke.
What is it?
Black smoke, sir. Moving this way. Lying close to the ground. Moving fast.
Put on gas masks. Get ready to fire. Shift to 24 meters. 24 meters. Projection 24 degrees. 24 degrees. Fire.
So this is the reporter that's supposed to be in New York that has the gas mask
Can't
attack.
see, sir. Smoke's coming nearer.
Get the range.
They didn't
23 meters. 23 meters. 23 meters. Protected 22. 22.
That's pretty funny. You know he's just faking it with a smile on his face.
Army bombing plane V-843 off Bayonne, New Jersey. Lieutenant Vogt, commanding 8 bombers, reporting to Commander Fairfax, Langham Field. This is Vogt reporting to Commander Fairfax, Langham Field. Enemy tripod machines now in sight. Reinforced by 3 machines from the Morristown cylinder. 6 altogether. 1 machine partially crippled. Believed hit by shell from Army gun in Watchung Mountains. Guns now appear silent. A heavy black fog hanging close to the earth of extreme density, nature unknown. No sign of heat ray. Enemy now turns east, crossing Passaic River into the Jersey marshes. Another straddles the Pulaski Skyway. Evident objective is New York City.
This is
They're
pretty
pushing
creepy.
down a high-tension power station. The machines are close together now, and we're ready to attack. Planes circling, ready to strike. 1,000 yards, and we'll be over the first. $800 yards. $600. $400. $200.
They got some good sound effects. It sounds
There
like
they go.
it sounds like he's in a
Giant arm
plane.
raised. Green flash. They're spraying us with flame. 2,000 feet. Engines are giving out. No chance to release bombs. Only one thing left. Drop on them, plane and all. We're diving on the first one. Now the engine's gone. 8.
Kamikaze attack?
This is Bayonne, New Jersey, calling Langham Field. This is Bayonne, New Jersey, calling Langham Field. Come in, please.
This is Langham Field. Go ahead.
8 Army bombers in engagement with enemy tripod machines over Jersey Flats. Engines incapacitated by heat ray. All crashed. 1 enemy machine destroyed. Enemy now discharging heavy black smoke in direction of...
This is Newark, New Jersey. This is Newark, New Jersey. Warning. Poisonous black smoke pouring in from Jersey marshes. Reaches South Street. Gas masks useless. Urge population to move into open spaces. Automobiles use routes 7, 23, 24. Avoid congested areas.
Wow, this is
Smoke
crazy.
now spreading
This isn't even a prank, bro. This is like literally just.
over.
To the north, Hutchison River Parkway still kept open for...
Feed. Should one of their machines appear over the top of trees, I'm ready to fling myself flat on the earth. I come to a chestnut tree. October. Chestnuts are ripe. Fill my pockets. Must keep alive.
Fill my pockets.
2 days I wander in a vague northerly direction through a desolate world. Finally, I noticed a living creature.
Oh, so this is him explaining the.
A small
This is him in character at the end right here, explaining
red
the.
squirrel in a beech tree. I stare at him and wonder. He stares back at me. I believe at that moment the animal and I shared the same emotion. The joy of finding another living being. Bush on north, I find dead cows in a brackish field, and beyond the charred ruins of a dairy, the silo remains standing guard over the wasteland like a lighthouse. Deserted by the sea.
Damn, this is a crazy ass prank. This is like crazy that this was. Let me read the comments real quick before I end the stream. When you listen to Will's narration, it's astonishing to realize he was 23 years old. Yeah, for real. Those transatlantic accents are just like those 50s movies. When I watch like old when I watch like old Hitchcock movies, like the accents in those are just like the best. It was just a prank, bro. Imagine a lot of people panic because they tune in at the wrong time. Wow. Yeah, that's wild though. But yeah. Appreciate y'all tuning in for another episode, man. Appreciate you, Aslan.